You have to think about how badly do you want it. And if you're not willing to do the thing, find the solution, you don't want it badly enough. I'm going to say it directly, right at the top of this podcast, that excuses are a problem, a big problem. If you understand this, if you really get this, if you use this concept to transform your life, you will achieve your goals faster than you ever thought possible. But you have to really get this. You have to understand that every excuse that you make is a big problem, is slowing down your ability to achieve what you want. So let's start off with acknowledging that. And acknowledging that as human beings, we're always desiring more in the form of growth. This means we're wired for improvement, for the next level goal, the next thing that we're going for. So something that has up until now been perfectly wonderful for you, at some point will be not enough. You'll want more, you'll want to grow, you'll want to change. And you'll be at that edge, that line where you have to become more and do more and have more. And your old set point, your old pattern, your old habits will want to keep you at the level that you've been playing at so far. Now, we don't want to knock ourselves down at the knees and say, up until now, everything has been crap, because probably lots of things in your life have been quite amazing. Some are not, but lots have been quite amazing. And yet within that realm of quite amazing, maybe your business has been doing great, but you want more. You see the next goal. You understand what you need to do next. The excuses start coming up to keep you in the same place that you've always been. And you have to learn how to move through this. So we're not saying be dismissive or ungrateful for what you've achieved right now, but we also need to understand that as humans, we're wired for growth, and that you will at some point become dissatisfied with your current situation. And dissatisfaction looks like, I'm so frustrated with this situation. Maybe even a ugh, stomp, 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 I want to have a little tantrum moment, or I want to scream at someone moment. Wake up. That's you wanting something different. You want an improvement. Now, I'm not advocating for the tantrum. We want to acknowledge earlier and earlier and earlier the signs that things are not as we want them, so that we can make shifts earlier so we don't get to that place of frustration or rage if it goes that far. So dissatisfaction might look like, this car is a piece of junk, or I hate looking at that mess, or I don't have a space of my own in a nice office or a beautiful house, or I'm so frustrated with the way we're having relationship conversations. Whatever it is, there is something that is causing you to want more. And again, we want to find the earliest seeds of that and start making adjustments as soon as we notice them. But these are sort of the examples of when it's become much more present for yourself. Okay. For me right now, let me give you an example from my life. The dissatisfaction that I have is I don't have a yard that I can just let my dog out in, which I've always had when I've had dogs, and it's been delightful and great, and I've really liked that. But since my divorce, I've lived in beautiful, luxurious, stunning apartments. I've really enjoyed the process of living in an apartment and not having to do the upkeep, and having, great people who are, the concierge at the door, someone to pick up the packages, so I don't always have to be home. new construction. I haven't always been a new construction kind of gal, but I'm really loving it. And there are amazing humans on site taking care of everything and allowing me huge flexibility in my life, which is just perfect for me right now. Well, I should say up until right now, because now I have this cute and beautiful little dog named Colt, who's just so good. And I love him to pieces and all of that. So he is just a bright spot in my life right now, and hopefully for a long time to come. However, he is a dog, and just like human beings, dogs need to have a little bio break first thing in the morning, yet they don't know how to use indoor plumbing. Wouldn't that be great if we could teach our dogs how to use indoor plumbing? Oh my God, I wonder if anyone's ever done that. So I have a morning routine. Many of you know my morning routine. Many of you have joined me for part of my morning routine in the Morning Mindset Club and have participated in getting that little audio snippet every morning and really starting the day off with study. And that's what I do. I study, I do some grounding practices, and I love having a few quiet hours in the morning to bang out some work things where I need some quiet thinking time, when my team's not pinging me for things, or I don't have client calls or meetings or all the wonderful things that I love about my business, but interrupt the natural flow of deeper thinking. So normally I have several hours in the morning because I wake up super, super early. But with a little doggy, that's no longer the case. He's quite good and he'll let me do my thing for about an hour. But after that, it's time to go. So this has caused me to realize that I'm dissatisfied with the place that I'm living, which is fabulous in so many ways. It's a luxurious, beautiful, wonderful place, yet it doesn't have a yard. And I really just want to let him out, have him come back in. Let's continue to snuggle. Let me do my work. And then we'll go for a longer walk and run. So I'm totally willing to accommodate his needs. And now I am dissatisfied and the situation needs to be improved upon. So this is the situation. Okay. And so what is it requiring of me? It's requiring that I upgrade where I live. And that means looking at buying or renting a house, but not any old house, something that's the next level for me, the next level of fabulousness. So I went on a personal story here to show you how dissatisfaction works. And in fact, there's much more to this, but I want to go off on a little bit of a tangent here, only a little bit, and then I'm going to come back to this story. So, or maybe it's part of this story. This is how the universe conspires to support you. So here I have this little guy who's come into my life and he's causing me to go to the next level. Now, I could be frustrated with that, which I have been, and I could come up with all sorts of excuses why I can't move right now, or it's not the right time, or any of that, but I'm not. But the universe is putting something in front of me that is causing a circumstance that is causing me to grow. And this is part of a whole practice that I teach. And I teach it in my Spirit of Wealth Mastermind and Masterclass, and it's called the Creation Playbook. And it's a key component of goal achievement, how I teach goal achievement. And in it, in my own Creation Playbook, I have down a number of things, including getting a dog and having a house. And there are many other things on that list, tons of other things, right? I'm always planning and visioning and going for more. And I actually started the process on the house maybe a month or two ago. I got the bug for it and I was looking at places and I actually found a great place, but I didn't have everything set up in my life to go after it and make it happen. And between then and now, I've taken my eye off the ball, admittedly putting that house as a lower priority and going in fits and starts with it and making some excuses. Really, yeah, there were some excuses there. And not truly claiming it and putting my energy elsewhere, like into my business and making great hires there and growing the staff and the business and taking new initiatives. And I backburnered the house. So my excuses, like you heard me pause there, like what are the excuses that I'm making? The excuses that I'm making are I needed to focus on the great hires. I needed to focus on building the team. I needed to focus on our new initiatives in the business. But those in and of there, it's true. But if I use those as an excuse not to go after the thing I really want, I am not going to achieve all my goals in a shorter period of time. So you have to see where you're doing this. So I backed off, I backburnered it, and that's okay for a period, but it wasn't okay anymore. It's now not okay anymore to have a dog without a yard. So it's causing me to go forward. And one of the things on my creation playbook was having a dog, and I created that for myself. And Colt is amazing, and I'm so happy that he's come into my life. And that was the order of things. I often talk about order is heaven's first law. The order of things was actually Colt first. Oh, interesting. But now the universe has put Colt in front of me, and it's causing me to see that I need to change things and go after the next thing. It's an impetus for that. Now, I could stay in excuses. I could stay in frustration, or I could get on it, which is exactly what I'm doing. And if you've been listening to me, that requires a plan and action and a no excuse attitude. Because why? Because failure permits no alibis. That's a quote directly from Napoleon Hill, from his seminal book, Think and Grow Rich, which you can study along with me in this podcast. So you want to back up and look at the process. You have an idea. This is the process of goal achievement. You have an idea. It hooks you. You claim it as a desire. You commit to it. You start imagining like how it's going to happen, imagining receiving it, but also the how you're going to build a plan. You start imagining the plan. You start imagining the problems with the plan and imagining solving those problems. And you start taking action, right? I'm constantly talking about massive, immediate, and consistent action. And as you do this, as all of it is proceeding, as it's happening, opportunities come your way. The universe, spirit, gives you exactly what you need when you need it. And sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad. So in this case, Colt is bringing an opportunity to me to go step forward and find my next most amazing place to live. Now, I could look at it as bad by saying I'm so frustrated by having to get up and get dressed first thing in the morning and take him out, right? That's a little bit of a negative for me. Or I could see that negative and see how it's calling me forward and turn it into a positive. And this happens all the time for people. The universe gives them what they want, what they need, the universe gives them what they need when they need it, but they refuse to acknowledge it and they come up with some sort of excuse. So let's use a few other examples here. So oftentimes I will be talking, I was just talking to a family member recently who called me up for some advice, and I was more than happy to have that conversation with her. And she is someone who I love very dearly and is very supportive of my work and wants to do more of it, be in it, apply it, all of that. And I asked her if she was going to come to the summit that we're having in November. And she came up with an excuse, which made sense to her, which was my office is in the common area and for a 3-day event, even though they're just 4.5, 5 hours each day. I can't do that. It will be too hard. I'll be too interrupted, all of this. And when I hear that, we had a very brief conversation about it. Totally fine. Your decision. No problem. Okay. But when I hear that, if you're coming to me as your coach, I'm going to say you're making up an excuse. The universe is giving you an opportunity to get the information you need to get to the next level. In this case, this is the example that I'm sharing with you. It just came up yesterday, so it's top of mind right now. But you're going to come up with an excuse. One of the things that I did when I quantum leaped my business was I stopped making excuses. Now, as you can see, there's always room for improvement. So when I said I stopped making excuses, what I really mean is I recognized where I was making excuses and I acted on solving that problem and saying I must instead of excuse. I figured out how to make it work. And I call this moving mountains. I will move mountains instead of making an excuse. So for instance, when I was first studying with my own mentor, this was years ago, he would do events across the country. And I was committed to learning, and I understood that my old way of thinking, my existing patterns needed to hear this information over and over and over and over again to be reprogrammed, that I wasn't going to get different results with my old way of thinking. I really understood that. And I knew I needed to stay in the bubble. I knew I needed to be constantly listening to a new way of thinking and being and approaching my action and business and who I was being in this world. And so I went to every single event. Okay, I can't say every single event, but I probably went to 5 or 6, probably even more than that, events a year. I flew all over the country. I flew first class when I didn't have the money to fly first class. I showed up in the room. I forced myself to do it. I ignored or refused to listen to the excuses of I don't have time or I don't have money. And I moved mountains to make that happen. So I think about this in terms of how badly do you want it? I wanted it really badly. I wanted to be free. I wanted to have a different way of thinking because my way of thinking wasn't working and I could see that in my results. So you have to look at this. You have to think about how badly do you want it? And if you're not willing to do the thing, find the solution, you don't want it badly enough. Now, what do you do when you recognize that in yourself? Okay? Because you will recognize this in yourself. So you've got to ask yourself, how badly do you want it? Do you want it badly enough? And then if you see that you're making an excuse, do not say automatically, I'm making an excuse. I must not want it badly enough. Do not make that your habitual stance. Instead, say, actually, my habitual stance is to come up with an excuse, but I want to change that because I actually really do want this. So I'm going to move mountains. I'm going to take a no excuse attitude, and I am going to show up differently. I'm going to do the hard thing. I'm going to go against my own set point. That set point that says I have a habit of saying no to myself or coming up with excuses or ignoring the opportunities that are right in front of me. Because the universe is conspiring for you, not against you. It's showing you exactly what you need to do to get to the next level. But you have to stop making excuses and you have to act on it. Okay? You have to take that no excuse attitude. So accept that you're doing this. This is a level of personal honesty and personal transparency that you must have with yourself. Accept that, oh, look, there I am. If I'm honest with myself, there I am making an excuse. And then without guilt or shame, figure out how to solve for that and act on the opportunity. Act on what the universe is giving you. Choose to be open rather than closed. Choose to say yes rather than no. If it's something you don't want, right? If the universe is giving you a pain point, a breakup, a problem with the team, a financial issue, a cash flow issue, a fitness issue, a health issue, a time issue, a money issue, whatever the universe is giving you that might be problematic, can you say yes to that? Can you accept it? Can you be with it and not make an excuse for it, but see it as an opportunity, your key to freedom, an opportunity if you figured it out, if you move through it with grace, that you would get to the next level. That is really what you need to do. That is how you go to the next level. Because remember, failure permits no alibis, and success requires that you move mountains. Okay, I'm Amira Alvarez, founder and CEO of The Unstoppable Woman. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for joining us and for being a part of the Unstoppable Woman movement. I want to let you know that we've got a ton of free resources for you for scaling your business at theunstoppablewoman.com/free stuff. Please go ahead and check those out. And we'd also love your help in getting the message out. Share this podcast with all the unstoppable women in your life, your friends, your colleagues, your business besties. Please do that. And if you're game, we'd super duper appreciate a review on iTunes as well. Thanks so much, and be unstoppable.